On the western edge of the Amazon basin, just over the eastern rim of the Andes, lies a region that the Inca Indians used to call the Eastern Empire, or Antisuyo. Within these remote rainforests live a group of Indians called the Machiguenga. The word means the people. Isolated from the rest of the world, the Machiguenga have changed little in the last few centuries. Here they continue hunting with arrows, while enlisting the aid of the forest spirits. This is the story of one of those villages, a small hamlet called Yomiwato. Machiguenga's social structure is unusual in that it is based entirely upon women. In the West, a woman marries into a man's family and adopts her husband's name. Among the Machiguenga, women remain in the village where they are born. It is the husbands who must marry into the village from outside. The strongest bond in a Machiguenga village is therefore between sisters. So intimate is their relationship that they will share all child-rearing activities, even breastfeeding one another's children. Marino married into Yomiwato from a distant village. Although he is teaching his son, Alejo, how to hunt, when Alejo is old enough, he too will leave the village and spend his life hunting for his future wife and in-laws. In this sense, all that Marino is teaching his son will one day be lost to him when Alejo leaves his village behind. Today, however, Marino and his son are going hunting. He and his wife, Mara, must first prepare their hunting dog for the strenuous chase ahead. A special mixture of narcotic plants and scent from a wild pig are dripped into the dog's nose. The mixture imprints the dog with the scent of wild pigs and also ensures that the dog's hunting soul is properly cleansed. The Machiguenga live at the very upper reaches of the Amazon River in southeastern Peru. The least contacted Machiguenga live within Manu National Park, the largest rainforest park in the world. At the headwaters of the Manu River lies the village of Yomiwato, a 5 days voyage into the park by boat. With a large supply of freshly made arrows, Marino and Alejo head out of the village for the hunt. They are accompanied by two of Marino's brothers-in-law, Netsia and Antonio. Often leaving early in the morning and not returning until dusk, they may walk 25 miles during a hunt. Even then, the outcome is uncertain. A half hour from the village, the hunters split up. Antonio and Netsia leave to follow peccary tracks, while Marino and Alejo go after spider monkeys. Marino rubs a special plant onto his palmwood bow. Its spirit will infuse the bow, helping him to improve his aim. Only by relying upon plant spirits can a hunter hope to bring down a spider monkey, the largest and most acrobatic monkey in the Amazon. Even then, a hunter will be lucky to get a clear shot. Their strategy is to isolate a monkey from its troop, then to flush it into the open for a shot. Although highly skilled, Machiguenga hunters like Moreno may spend 3 or 4 days in the forest and still return empty-handed. Elsewhere in the jungle, however, a kill has been made. With the help of his hunting dog, Moreno's brother-in-law, Antonio, has killed 2 40-pound peccaries, or wild pigs. Antonio himself cannot carry the peccaries back to the village. Moreno does, for a hunter can never carry what he kills. To do so would be to act like a vulture, a despised carrion eater, and would cause the hunter to lose both his hunting ability and the purity of his soul. Once in the village, the peccary meat is shared by members of Antonio's extended family. One of the peccaries was a female and had 2 piglets. These will be raised by Antonio's family, not to be eaten, but to be kept as pets. By sharing food and swapping hunting information, no one in the community goes hungry, despite the fact that finding game animals in the rainforest is always unpredictable. For the Machiguenga, sharing means survival. Alejo's grandfather is Mariano, the best storyteller in Yomiwato. This is an important skill because the Machiguengas have no written language. Instead, their elders carry within them all knowledge that has been passed on for thousands of years. Myths, legends, the combined wisdom of forgotten generations. The best storytellers are therefore not only living encyclopedias, but they are also the main source of entertainment in a society that has neither books nor theater. This, then, is the story of creation.
Long ago, our ancestors angered the evil god Yabireri. Yabireri began to blow upon the forest, seeking out the Machiguenga with his powerful breath. Our ancestors ran and tried to hide, but one by one, Yabireri began transforming them, turning them into animals. Thus were created all the animals of the forest. Those that hunt and their beasts of prey. Before he could finish, Yabireri was captured by a powerful shaman and imprisoned at the end of the world. If he should ever escape, then he will return and destroy everything. That is where all of the animals of the rainforest came from. They were all once Machiguengas, and they still possess human souls.
Similar to the creation myth is the story of the origin of howler monkeys. According to the Machiguenga, once long ago, a group of shamans were lazy and spent all their time singing. Their songs angered the god Yabireri, who began transforming them into monkeys that howl. Howler monkeys still possess a shaman's soul. That is why they continue singing in the forest to this day. Not only is Alejo's grandfather, Mariano, a great storyteller, he's also a respected shaman. In the past, all Machiguenga boys apprenticed to older shamans. Only a few, however, were able to withstand the intense physical and psychological rigors that accompanied their shamanistic training. A shaman gains his power by using hallucinogenic plants. These allow him access to the spiritual world and all the powers within it. With the aid of the spirits, a shaman can foresee the future, can locate the position of enemy tribes, and can protect his community from attack. The use of sacred plants among the Machiguenga is crucial, for it is the spirits within these plants that give their shamans the power to heal. Anthropologist Glenn Shepard is a gifted linguist who speaks more than 10 languages and has lived among the Machiguenga for nearly 2 years.
Before I came here the first time, I just went to the library and looked up Machiguenga in the card catalog, and lo and behold, there was this old book published in 1927 on the Machiguenga language. And so I picked that up and learned a little grammar, and then within a few months of coming down here, I was already speaking the language at a basic conversational level. The Machiguengas have knowledge of at least 300 or 400 medicinal plants that I've collected so far. "25% of all Western pharmaceutical drugs are derived from compounds first discovered in the rainforest. And yet, by the same token, only 1% of all rainforest plants have been studied. The chances are very high that we could find cures for all kinds of different diseases in the rainforest." Mariano has learned medicinal plants from his mother and from his father, and now this knowledge is being lost at an incredible rate. If we don't go out there and start studying these medicinal plants, 20 years from now it'll just be too late.
While most scientists study plants purely for their physical properties, the Machiguenga believe that many plants contain spirits that must be treated with great respect.
Some plants have such powerful spirits that only shamans and witches are able to use them. One time I was out gathering plants, and someone pointed out a witchcraft plant to me. And when I tried to gather a scientific specimen of that plant, the person said, no, don't touch that plant. Only shamans and witches are powerful enough to handle it.
This is the maimpi tree. I used it to treat a leho snake bite a few years ago. A small fer-de-lance bit him in the foot. The sap is very caustic. We use it to destroy the snake's soul. If you see a snake and it almost bites you, it means that the moon spirit has tried to kill you. Because snakes are the arrows that the moon spirit uses. If you kill the snake, only its body dies. You must also be careful to kill the snake's soul.
The Machiguenga believe that the moon spirit actually goes on hunting trips for humans to feed on their souls. Poisonous snakes are the moon's arrows. Just as the Machiguenga go hunting for monkeys, so does the moon spirit come hunting for them, using his snake arrows with their poison.
For that reason, we put the snake's body under the maimpi tree and let the sap destroy its soul. Witches mix it with other plants in the forest. That is how they steal people's souls.
Witches are shamans' apprentices who have made pacts with demon spirits in order to gain a shorter path to power. In a sense, a witch is a cannibal who kidnaps and feeds upon the souls of humans with the aid of demon spirits. Although they use the same powers as the shaman, there is one difference. Instead of protecting their community, they manipulate power for their own selfish ends. Not all spirits in the forest are evil, however. Some, in fact, are the Machiguenga's closest allies and live in small clearings in the forest.
This is the spirit clearing, where the good spirits live. If you take ayahuasca, you can see the houses where they live. You can see the animals that they raise as pets. These are the Sankerite, the good spirits that help and protect us.
In the dual physical and spiritual world in which they live, the Machiguenga have learned to use certain plant drugs to bring them into even closer contact with the spiritual world. Ground tobacco is blown into the nose using a pipe made from the leg of a stork.
Tobacco is one of many plants that Machiguenga men use to improve their hunting ability, and it's also used by shamans to take them into the spirit world. When people share tobacco, it often goes along lines of friendship, so that if someone else jumps in and wants to share tobacco with someone, they'll say, no, 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 I'm sharing tobacco with this person, not with you, because only friends share tobacco.
Tobacco smoke is sometimes used as a medicinal cure. It and hundreds of other medicinal plants make up the pharmacopoeia of the Machiguenga people.
This baby's been sick basically since it's been born. Since a baby's soul has just been recently planted, the soul is very, very small and the babies are very weak. So all Machiguenga mothers bathe their babies frequently with medicinal plants and with achiote, red facial paint, in order to scare away the demons that would steal the child's soul.
For the Machiguenga, sickness and death are both related to hunting. Just as humans eat animals, so do demon spirits feed upon human souls. The Machiguenga's definition of death is spirit hunting, when one's soul is hunted down, captured, and consumed. The most dangerous period is night.
Long ago, the moon spirit came down and visited the Machiguenga. At that time, our ancestors had no crops. We only ate dirt. The moon spirit married a Machiguenga woman and taught the people how to grow manioc and other crops. The woman became pregnant, the first woman to do so. During childbirth, the woman's family thought she was dying and accused the moon of trying to kill her. They angrily told the moon to take her. The moon spirit then grew angry, turned the woman's soul into a tapir, and hunted it and killed it. The moon then returned to the sky, where it remains today. Ever since then, our souls have turned into tapirs when we die, and the moon hunts them down the night trails and kills them. Only the shamans are able to escape. Without the moon, we wouldn't have manioc root. We wouldn't have gardens. There would be no birth or death in the world today.
The moon spirit brought agriculture to the Machiguenga, and ever since then, they have cut clearings out of the forest in which to cultivate their crops.
The main staple of the Machiguenga diet is manioc, and they have more than 25 different genetic varieties, because if they grew only one variety, then diseases or pests would destroy their entire garden. So instead, Machiguenga gardening imitates the natural diversity of the rainforest. So in the first cycle, they'll plant manioc and corn, and then bananas, and then later on arrow reeds, and finally fruit trees. The result of this is that a single area of the rainforest is continually productive for more than 20 years, and yet at the end of that time, it looks like a rainforest again.
In addition to hunting and gardening, the Machiguenga also gather the fruits of the forest as they come into season. Marino uses a bark strap to give his feet friction as he climbs into the canopy. At the top of the palm hangs a cluster of aguaje nuts, a favorite of birds, monkeys, and especially the Machiguenga. As with meat from the hunt, The nuts will be taken home and shared with other members of the extended family. Beneath the bark of a rotting palm, Alejo and his family seek out a different kind of crop, one that they have been waiting for expectantly. Moreno actually cut down this palm 3 months ago, knowing that beetles would lay their eggs and that soon fat larvae would result. Gorged on palm oil, the grubs taste like soft cheese and coconut milk. They are a great rainforest delicacy. At 3 or 4 years old, boys start making their first set of miniature bows and arrows. They then go out hunting beetles, butterflies, and later small monkeys and birds. Alejo and his cousin Pedro allow themselves to be repeatedly stung by a swarm of bees. In doing so, they believe that their aim with an arrow will become as accurate as a bee's aim is with its stinger. While boys practice to be hunters, women weave, garden, and collect food. The bark of this tree will later be used to make a dye for weaving. Cotton has been domesticated in the Amazon for thousands of years. The Machiguenga spin it, dye it, then weave it into clothes. The looms they use, as well as the style of cloak or kushma that they weave, are thought to derive from contact with the Inca Empire, which ruled most of Peru over 500 years ago.
Long ago, in the days of our ancestors, the Incas came down to the jungle from the mountains to trade with us. The Incas wore cotton cloaks, like ourselves, and brought us metal axes and knives and beautiful cloth. They lived in a high land where there are no trees, no monkeys, where the days and nights are cold. And then one day, white people began pouring from the ground. Like termites, they climbed over the mountains and killed the Inca. And then they began to hunt us, to surround our villages, to set them on fire.
During the rubber boom at the turn of the last century, outsiders swarmed into the Amazon, setting fire to villages and carrying off thousands of Indians as slaves to tap the rubber trees.
White people have been here ever since. My fathers and their fathers always ran from them. If they hadn't, there would be no Machiguenga left here today.
White people weren't the only enemies of the Machiguenga. Even in their remote hideaways, they were attacked by other, more aggressive tribes. 4 other ethnic groups lived near the Machiguenga, 2 of them as yet uncontacted. The fiercest are the Yamanawa, for decades one of the Machiguenga's most bitter enemies.
This is my Barbasco garden. My father and I were attacked here by a dozen Yaminawa. The Yaminawa came from upriver. They crept through the forest, their bodies painted red, and carrying their 6-foot-long bows and arrows. Then they attacked. They hit my father with an arrow in the chest. I fired arrows back at them until they retreated. That is how we were almost killed.
In the now overgrown garden where he was attacked, Mariano helps dig for barbasco root, a natural fish poison. The Machiguenga fish with barbasco only during the dry season, when the rivers are low and the poison won't be too diluted. The root's poison stuns the fish, causing them to float to the surface. The poison affects the fish's gills, not their flesh. By November or December, the skies open up and the rainy season begins. To the Machiguenga, lightning and thunder are the explosions made when the souls of shamans hunt down and kill demon spirits hidden deep in the forest.
Você continua a fotografiar? Sabe que eu não sei a parte aqui, yoga magnam atam yoga banala. Nossa, yoga magnam. Nella ansia lo fatto mai in tennis. Lo cacchio chiamato la giorno guarda io catino, poi guarda io catino. Io ma che si sta già ma scoiata bagno ma che tutto quanto in tempo.
Since children's souls are not firmly implanted in their bodies, their souls are easily captured and eaten by witches and other spirit hunters. To protect her children, Maura paints their faces with jaguar patterns. Should a demon spirit come hunting nearby, it will see not a child, but a powerful beast, and will flee back to the forest. Normally invisible to the naked eye, the spirit world is made visible by taking the hallucinogen ayahuasca. The drug comes from a vine that is mashed, then boiled with 2 other plants that chemically activate its power. So strong is the ayahuasca's spirit that the vine cannot simply be thrown away afterwards. Rather, it must be carefully wrapped in leaves, then buried far away in the forest. Ayahuasca is generally taken as the rainy season begins. The men play pegompis, or single-string violins, using the music to draw the forest spirits nearer. Men began taking ayahuasca at the age of 13 or 14. They use the drug as a tool, which allows their souls to separate from their bodies and to enter the spiritual world. For most, the voyage is both beautiful and frightening. When the soul leaves the body, it travels in a world filled with both good and evil spirits. At no other time are their souls more vulnerable to attack. To leave their bodies and return successfully requires a great deal of inner strength and courage. The rewards, however, are great, for it is only in the spiritual world that the Machiguenga can gain knowledge, power, and the ability to heal.
Siapa kantak?
Tinggal tempatnya.
Asal tinggal kantak.
Nami aja lokal kena nak tahu.
Tinggal kenana.
So, kita juga kau lagi.
Kau lagi na. Akanok kantak. Akanok. No.
Itu betul nungkak.
Na. Imbocha picante.
No capta. Covinta.
Covinta. The Machiguengas use a large number of different plants to improve hunting ability. And when you take these, you get rid of the vulture spirit, and what you replace it with is the eagle spirit, which is the spirit of good hunting.
Alejo, requesi. Esta ocasión, esta ocasión, ya. No.
Eagles have, very sharp eyesight, which you need in hunting. They're very fast, and they're ferocious hunters. And that's, when you get the eagle spirit in you, that's what you get. You get that ferociousness, that excellent eyesight, and extremely good aim and speed. They use this plant for cleaning their eyes and for cleaning their soul, because the eye is one of the portholes into the soul. Pinta?
Nunca.
Onde ko vinsa?
Onde come? Nada.
Vai não quinta não dá.
Como é?
Área. Di cazzo. Virocchia. Americana. Oh, cazzo.
Daniel,
In another part of the forest, a pair of harpy eagles hunt food for their chick. The most powerful eagles in the world, harpies are capable of seizing and carrying off monkeys weighing up to 10 pounds. Alejo and Moreno, meanwhile, are closing in on a troop of woolly monkeys. The harpy has also made a kill and heads towards its nest. It will be 2 months before its chick is ready to fledge. Today, the Machiguenga have been successful. Their hunting souls were purified, the spirits were in order, and this afternoon, both they and their spirit brothers will have plenty to eat. In the endless cycle of life and death, one animal must meet its end so that another can be born.
Whenever I talk about leaving, the Machiguenga always ask me about the United States. They're very curious and they try to understand my country in terms of their own. They'll ask, what do you eat there? Do you eat monkeys? And I'll say, no. What do you mean, aren't there any monkeys in the woods? And I say, no, there's no monkeys in the woods. And they're just amazed. Then they'll ask me, what does your father plant? What kind of crops does your father grow? And I'll say, well, my father's not really a farmer, but he does plant some corn, and he plants a few watermelons in the summertime. And so that sort of helps them understand a little bit better. And then they'll ask, what kind of trees grow there? Does chonta palm grow there? And I'll say, no. And they'll say, well, what does grow there? If there's no chonta palm, and no monkeys, and no tapir, then how can anyone live there? What they know is their own surroundings, and anything else they have a real hard time understanding.
Slowly, however, the outside world is approaching. Although isolated for hundreds of years, more and more the Machiguenga are coming into contact with an alien world that lies not far beyond. Only 5 days downriver, the first inroads are being made, with roads, frontier towns, and cattle ranches. Although their reasons for coming here are complex, they have one thing in common. Collectively, they are destroying the Amazon. If tribes like the Machiguenga are to survive, then the rainforests around them must be protected. For it is they who have lived here for thousands of years, the rainforests for millions. And it is our job to make sure that they last for 1 million more.
Saya bigay yaman, kamat.
Iya, tegamat juga yang bisa. Loteng mantik, loteng kita sunci mat.
Tinggal kayo ta kamay.
Yang dia bisa kata timbul. Iya, takin nak ini aki iget poter kasih. Ini aki iget kain pati.
Ikaman nak seri, magi ikaman seri dengan magan.
Konti kan tadi. Ini kami.
Hindi pa rin yan ikan nak seri.
Ni awak tekan tegak, ni bagi tekan tekan sini ke, ni tiap kita gitu. Ni nak tentang ikan dia, dia sendiri ke, dia sendiri.
When a Machiguenga shaman dies, his soul becomes immortal, traveling through the forest and up into the sky, where the souls of the Machiguenga shamans continue to watch over us to this day.